skin tints, two very different promises. One gives mature skin hydration and glow, while the other offers higher SPF and a more natural finish. But which one still looks smooth, not shiny, and doesn't settle into fine lines and wrinkles by the end of the day? Today we're doing a side-by-side comparison because it's Friday face-off, where we are going to do the application as well as an 8-hour wear test. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Jody. I do a series every week called Friday Face-Off where we compare two products side by side because so many products say they do the same things, and the question then becomes, which one do we buy? Because at this stage of life, the last thing we need is clutter of products that just did not work for us. And many of us are turning to a lighter formula when it comes to our foundation. So these two Tinted Sunscreen / moisturizers are two of the more popular ones. So I'm going to put them to the test so we can see which one works best. What are we talking about? First up is the bareMinerals Complexion Rescue. I have it in shade Suede 04. This offers sheer to light coverage, a dewy finish, comes in 20 shades. It has 6.9% titanium dioxide and 30 SPF. There's no fragrance to this formula. Now I have combination skin and I'm oily through the T-zone, so we'll be able to see how these two formulas hold up throughout the day on both oily skin as well as dry skin. I don't have any sunscreen on today because both of these are sunscreen. This one is 30%, as I said, and the Supergoop is 50. Now, one of the things we want to know is how good is the coverage and can you build it? So you can see I have some hyperpigmentation right here on my cheek. I don't have on anything other than moisturizer, and I'm loving the coverage. Again, this is Suede 04. Very lightweight. It blends smoothly onto the skin. Good coverage. And this is probably a pretty good shade for me. That's half the battle, right? Is finding the right shade of a foundation. Now, as I've gotten older and my skin becomes more wrinkly, a little more saggy, I do prefer a lightweight formula that offers light to or sheer coverage that I can build for those special occasions. But every day running around, summer picnics, days at the beach, for example, I like something that gives me a little bit of coverage and doesn't look like I tried too hard to have a full coverage foundation. I just want skin that looks like this. The bareMinerals Complexion Rescue offers hyaluronic acid, squalene, and glycerin to help attract and retain moisture to the skin. That's really beneficial for those of us with more mature, dry skin. The texture of this formula is a gel cream formula, which tends to be more forgiving if you've got wrinkles, enlarged pores, orange peel looking skin like I do in this area. The lightweight gel cream formula blends really nicely into those areas. I'm gonna build it right in this cheek area just to see if building it allows it to still look nice, or do you start to get that cakey look? And I would say it looks really nice. Definitely buildable. We'll see what this looks like in 8 hours. The bareMinerals does contain silica, which can often give a blurring or softening effect to the skin. And this formula offers a mineral-only sunscreen, which is important to know for those of you that might have more sensitive skin. This could be a good option. Now, I use the Nikki LaRose in 17 for application, but this formula is creamy enough you could use your fingers. All right, what I like about this upon application, it leaves a nice dewy look to the skin. If you've got more oily skin, this might start to look a little too shiny, but again, we'll be able to answer that question in 8 hours. It feels a little tacky, not bad. We're gonna give it a few minutes to dry down. Now, this is an SPF of only 30, where the Supergoop is an SPF of 50. So let's get into the details about this one. For the same 1.18 ounces, this sells for around $45, making it more expensive than the bareMinerals. This comes in 14 shades. It's a light buildable coverage, natural finish, and an SPF of 50. This formula has zinc oxide at 13.8%. Again, here's that hyperpigmentation, and we'll see how well it covers. I know many of you, if you've tried both of these, let me know in the comments which one you like best. I'm gonna reveal my answer at the end of the 8-hour mark because a lot of things can look good on our more mature skin when we first apply it. It's how does it look after 8 hours. I can tell already that even though this one is a thicker formula, it does require a little more product to get the coverage. So both say that they are sheer to light coverage. I think the bareMinerals offers a little bit more coverage than the Supergoop, but it is buildable without looking cakey. Many women in their 50s opt for a tinted sunscreen because it's a 2-in-1. You get coverage, you often can find that dewy finish that you're looking for, which speaks really well to hydrated, youthful skin in the summertime, but you're getting the benefit of an SPF. So it's fast, it's quick, it works great for makeup days as well as no makeup days, meaning maybe you don't wear any eye makeup or anything, you just want to even out your complexion a little. A tinted sunscreen is really good for that. All right, so both are light coverage, both offer a dewy finish. They both are buildable without looking cakey or overdone. I feel like the Supergoop is a little less tacky right upon application. This one still feels a little tacky to me. Well, let's give it the, yeah, doesn't really pass the hair test. Let's see if this one does. No, neither one of them passed the hair test upon application, but we will see how long that lasts. The Supergoop is also fragrance free. All right, you guys, I think what I'm going to do is let's just build a little bit more of the Supergoop underneath my eyes because I'm not going to wear a concealer today. I'm not going to set either of these with powder because we know that if you want to lock in a look, you want to add a powder or a setting spray. I want to see how these hold up without any extra help. I do want to, even though I'm not going to set this with any bronzer or any powder or anything, I'm going to add a little bit of a liquid blush. I don't normally wear a peach blush, but this new Giorgio Armani liquid blush is in shade 12. I saw this the other day and I thought I have to have that because it's just, to me, a nice peach looks almost more current than pink, and I am a pink blush person, but I like a blush that's there but not really. So I'm just gonna add a little tiny bit to the cheeks where it's not gonna hinder our view of how these two tinted sunscreens work. All right, so there you go. I think right out of the gate, the Supergoop does have a higher SPF, but it is a little less coverage, nice dewy finish. The bareMinerals side is $5 less expensive. It's only 30 SPF, but I think it offers better coverage. Both said they're buildable, but I did build them and I feel like this one looks better. They both have about the same finish. Consistency of the formulas were pretty similar. One's a mineral sunscreen versus one that isn't. So there you go. That's what they look like now. Let's go through the day and see how these are holding up in 8 hours because we want to see if there's any shine that breaks through. Did they settle into fine lines and wrinkles? Do they attach themselves to dry patches? Because as we get older, we've got more dry patches. And yeah, we need all these questions. And I need some lip stuff. Let's do Strip Down by MAC and Anastasia of Beverly Hills in the shade Haze. You guys, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to do that. Please become a subscriber, join our community. I read the comments every morning and answer the comments. And I am starting to have to prioritize the comments to who's a subscriber and who isn't, because there are just more and more of you are joining our community, which I'm super grateful for. But in order for me to get to everyone, I do prioritize those that have subscribed to the channel. I answer their comments first. So be sure that you've hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. It just shows me that you're enjoying the content and it means a lot. So thank you for that. All right, you guys, there we go. I like both of these. I do, well, I'm not gonna say which one I like better yet because everything can look good upon application. Let's see what we've got in 8 hours. All right, you guys, it is about 5:30 in the afternoon and I put both of these tinted sunscreens on at 7:30 this morning. So it has been a full day. I had to change my shirt because the collar on that other one, I don't know what era I was in when I bought that shirt. It's like 4 years ago. I feel like it was my Hoochie Mama era. I don't know. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. My husband and I are going out to dinner with some friends and I'm thinking, there's just no way I'm going out with that shirt on. So I had to change. Here we are. Okay, so let's take a look at how both of these tinted moisturizers performed in the 3 most important areas when it comes to anything that we're putting on our face as women over 50, over 60, over 70. Do they settle into fine lines and wrinkles? Do the products attach themselves to dry skin and emphasize the look of dry skin? And to me, the most important is, what does the texture look like at the end of the day? So taking a look at the bareMinerals Complexion Rescue first, this did dry down and it took about 2 hours. I think to make this really work for me, I would add a little bit of setting spray just to get rid of that tacky feeling. And I would use a setting spray that was more on the matte side because as pretty as this is, I just don't care for any glow. It's not overly shiny. It's not overly glowy. It doesn't look like an oil slick, even in my oily areas. It's a very pretty natural glow. I just personally like a little bit more of a matte look. But now that I'm saying that, I would wear this on a lighter makeup day. So maybe I would get away with this if my eye makeup wasn't quite so bold. Really love this. It didn't settle into fine lines and wrinkles. It does wear well all day. I don't feel like it accentuated any dry patches. I don't see any settling in this key area where I typically will get some peeling in this little nostril area. And I do have lines and wrinkles around my mouth. There isn't a foundation that's going to magically float on top of those lines and wrinkles. There's always going to be some settling because you are putting a product on top of this. So it's going to settle naturally. Gravity happens. I really like this one. I like the coverage of this one better because it still looks like a sheer natural coverage. I still can see some of my skin, very faint imperfections, which makes it look like your own skin. If this was all one shade, then it would look makeup-y. And this really doesn't. So my final thoughts on the bareMinerals Complexion Rescue. I really like this if you have mature skin and you're more on the dull or dehydrated side, and you prioritize things like comfort, moisture, and a visibly dewy finish over a higher SPF. Now it still has a 30 SPF, and that's mineral. I do like the Supergoop side. This used to be one of my favorites, but I found that it wore a little bit more inconsistent. I can see some imperfections coming through right through here. I did have glasses on today, but they don't sit down here, so I'm not sure what that's from. I'm pretty aware when I'm doing these tests to make sure that I don't do anything like this, to put my hands on my face to change the results, because I really want to be as accurately as I can so that when you get these products home, they perform like you expect them to. There's always going to be some differences, obviously, in skin type, but I just found that it doesn't wear quite as well long term. It definitely settled more up through here where I did not use a concealer. I think instead I would probably use a lighter concealer and maybe not try to put this in such delicate area. I don't know, I feel like if I was just reviewing the Supergoop on its own, I would say, okay, yeah, those are good results, I'm happy with it. But when you compare it to what you could get, that's where I really noticed the downfall on the Supergoop side. Not to mention, it is $5 more. So I think the Supergoop is your better option only if you don't like mineral sunscreen or you like a higher SPF. Now, if you do like a higher SPF, you can always put on your own SPF that you would wear every day and then put a tinted SPF or tinted sunscreen on over the top of it. It's totally fine. So many of the formulas wear well layered like that, so you shouldn't run into any peeling problems. So that is my final breakdown for the day. I love it when the less expensive product comes out on top, and that happens more often than you would think. All right, you guys, I will link both of these products down below in case you want to look more at them, as well as that foundation brush, because I love that foundation brush. And all the other products that I shared with you today, they'll all be linked in the description box below. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you love Friday face-offs, your algorithm says that you're gonna really like this one next. I'll see you with another video in just a couple days. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.